Alright folks, how you doing? So I just thought I'd make a quick video about dealing with narcissists in the workplace. I've been a long time student of HG Tudor. Hang on, let's move that. And considering that 1 out of every 6 people are narcissists, you are more than likely going to run into one in the workplace at some point, and you're going to have to learn how to deal with them. I'll begin by saying, first of all, heed HG's words. Cross the emotional sea and logic defences on. You might not be able to do the third one quite so much. Once you know, you know. Not everyone can just quit their job like that. And besides, it wouldn't really, get rid of all the other narcissists in the world. So I would stick with the first 2 in that regard. But the first thing to do is not get upset, because narcissists at some point, you have to understand first of all what it is. Narcissism is a method of psychological self-defense, and narcissists are very easily triggered by things that normals and empaths or even narcissistic people, well, I don't know about the latter to quite the same degree, but empaths and normals certainly would be like, what, that'll upset you? How the hell did that get under your skin? And sometimes you'll have done something that will just trigger them, and you're just like not even realise that maybe it'll remind them of something, a colour, a smell, a memory, who knows, and that could just set them off. You could be with a narcissist 6 days out of the week, absolutely no problems, and then the 7th day you just do that one little thing and it fucking sets them off. And it can happen very easily. Another thing to remember about narcissists is that 99% of them are unconscious of what they are. So what they're doing, they don't even realise they're doing it. So you're getting upset, mistakenly presuming that they know what they're doing, when in fact they don't. It's a creature, as HG calls it, that's causing them to respond in that fashion. So it's a part of their brain, their mind, their psyche, whatever you want to call it, that they're not even aware of, that's responding to it, or causing them, triggering them to respond in such a way. So once you bear all this in mind, it becomes a lot easier to deal with. You're torturing yourself a lot less and second guessing yourself a lot less. And 9 times out of 10, you'll have had a nasty interaction with a narcissist, and you'll be second guessing, you'll be up all night worried about it. Oh my god, I have to go in the next day and face this person, and when you see them again, they're pleasant as punch. Alright Davey, how you doing? No problem. Alright, you watched the game last night, and you're thinking, this wasn't in the fucking cage yesterday, was it? This guy was jumping down my goddamn throat the last time I saw him. Remember, it's all about assertion of control, character trait acquisition, but above all else, it's a self-defense mechanism. Narcissists are very easily triggered by things that you and I wouldn't even pick up on, the same way that dogs hear and smell things. You're wondering what they're looking at, set them off. What's got their attention? You can't see anything, you can't smell anything, you can't hear whatever it is, but they're setting up like fully alert. It's not the most flattering of analogies, but hopefully you get where I'm going with that. They can be triggered by things that, like I say, would just completely go over your head, like, really? So the thing is as well, I'll give you examples. I've got that prelude out of the way. One person I work with who I believe is a narcissist, I won't say his real name, I'll call him Derek. There are no Dereks where I work, so that's not going to cause any confusion. But this guy Derek, he's a real control freak, a pretty obvious narcissist when you know what you're looking at. When you've been through the HG school, when you've read his books, which I have, when you've watched his videos, been on his website and all the rest, you know what you're looking at. It's pretty easy to identify. And let's just say this Derek, he had this rule that we all have to wear the correct uniform. Fair enough. Now, I like this hat. I think it goes very well with the uniform. It's even along similar colours. I don't think it looks out of place, but he made a big fucking song and dance that we have to wear the company hat, not our own personal hats. Okay, fine. Well, what do I see the very next day? Is he wearing the company hat? Is he fuck? Because remember, with the narcissists, they are hypocrites. One rule for me, another rule for thee. Do as I say, not as I do. That very much sums up narcissists. So I commented to 1 or 2 of my colleagues, he makes a big fucking song and dance about us wearing the company hat. What's he wearing? He's wearing his own hat. And someone grasped me up. So then the guy comes up to me later on and he said, I heard you were concerned. And he actually justifies it to me. He said, I'm not wearing the company hat because it's drying. And I just turn to him, knowing what I'm dealing with, and I just say, well, normally I've got a spare with me. If I'd have known, I would have lent you it. And of course, being a narcissist, this is a threat to control because he's not gained control over me. Remember, what the narcissists crave apart from control is also emotional reactions. Fuel is what HG Tudor calls it. You know, they want you to respond. They want you to get upset. Love me, hate me, but never ignore me is the mantra of the narcissist. You know, and remember, it's all at the subconscious level. So the next time that I see this guy, I look him square in the eye like this, and I say, am I signed on? And he looks at me and he says, yeah. Okay. 1 hour later, I got a phone call. Do you know you're in today? Do you know you're working? I'm like, what? I'm right here. I'm in such and such a place right now. Do you want me to hand the phone over? You know, I'm looking at one of the colleagues. They'll verify that I'm actually here right now. And I just remember down the other end of the phone, what was it? I can't remember exactly what he said. That wee dick or that wee prick, you know, and I could hear him shaking his head. Like, yeah, okay, this happens on a fairly regular basis. I'm not the only one that this has happened to. And that's another thing with the narcissist. Never take it personally, because it's not personal. It's the creature inside the psyche that's causing all this, it's driving all this. You know, that's one example. Another unpleasant example, a colleague of mine accused me of not doing something that not only do I regularly do, but I take pride in doing, which no one else does, and I do it every single time. And he went up to me and flat out accused me of not doing it. Now, of all the things that he could have said to trigger me to get a response out of me, because I'm not typically easily triggered, I've got a fairly even temperament, I'm not a hothead, you know, but he really knew how to push my buttons. But then I have to remind myself, it's not him that's pushing the buttons, it's the creature that's driving him to push my buttons. You didn't do this. And I'm like, yeah, I did. You know, because that's just my automatic response. You know, before the raise the logic defenses, rather like the Starship Enterprise raising the shields, you know. Yeah, so I went, yeah, I did. And he's quite aggressive as well. I mean, you know, quite a big guy. If it comes to throwing hands, I'm not going to win. So, you know, and he was being aggressive as well. So, you didn't do this. You need to always do this. I was like, okay. I didn't apologise, which I'm quite proud of. I just walked away. I just walked off because I tried to not give him the fuel. Because by this time, half a second later, I realised logic defences on, switch them on. Think like HG Tudor, remember his teachings. It's like Luke Skywalker trying to remember Yoda's teachings when he's facing Darth Vader. You know, stay calm, the path of the dark side. So, you know, I'm being somewhat hyperbolic there, but on the other hand, not really. You know, you have to kind of remember all this at all times, switch those defences on. And I just went, okay, just walked away, depriving him of fuel because I didn't give an emotional response, or at least I tried not to. I'm sure the expression on my face probably did give him some fuel, but you know, you try not to fuel him. You know, next time I saw him after that, waved to me, hi, how you doing? As if nothing had happened, because remember, with the narcissist, it's all compartmentalized. So when you're torturing yourself at night, when you can't sleep, when you're second guessing yourself, is Derek going to be a fucking prick today? And then you go in and he's pleasant as pie. You're scratching your head like, I guess he's in a good mood today. No, it's because the narcissism operates from moment to moment to moment to moment in most cases. I'm not sure about mid-range narcissists, how it quite operates in comparison to lesser narcissists, but you know, HG has made this point before that it's all another thing as well is it's all transactional, you know, so it does operate minute to minute, and sometimes it's second to second. 1 second the narcissist can bite your fucking head off if you're painted black, as HG puts it, if you're on their shit list, and half a second later they can be really pleasant to you if you're painted white, as you know, as HG makes the case. So don't torture yourself when you're dealing with narcissists, and you are going to deal with them. It's 1 in 6, that's over 15% of the population. And we all have narcissistic traits. And by the way, the voice inside your head that says, are you going to let them get away with that? Are you going to put up with that shit? That is your inner narcissism, even if you're not an actual narcissist. Even if you're an empath. Everybody has narcissistic traits, even empaths do. So the part of you that wants to respond, that wants to fucking batter them, that wants to shout at them. Remember, if you're responding in any way, you're giving them fuel. The best way to wound a narcissist is to not respond, but you really have to train yourself to not respond, because anyone's instinct, even if they're an empath, is to respond. But by doing that, you're playing the game by their rules. How do you defeat someone if you're playing the game that they want you to play it? If you're playing on their ground by their rules, they're going to win. So you have to remember to bite your tongue. And if you have to go punch a pillow later on or fucking scream at the wall, do that instead. Don't give the narcissist any fucking fuel. Don't give them it, you know, because that's the one way that you get the narcissist to back off from you. That's the most effective method, is non-response. Don't give them a fucking thing. If they're not getting fuel from you, if they're not getting character traits and all this kind of thing, then you're going to go off their radar. The point is to get off the radar and stay off the radar. As much as it hurts your pride, but remember, pride is a narcissistic characteristic, it's a narcissistic trait. As much as it wounds your pride to go that route, in the long term, you know, you'll become invisible to the narcissist, hopefully, you know, as much as you possibly can, and stay the hell off the radar. It's like HG says, once you know, you go, you know. You can even apply that. I said at the beginning of the video that might not be possible in terms of like finding another place of employment. But once you get off their radar, you stay off their radar if you possibly can. Just be pleasant to them like you would everyone else. Don't take it personally. Cross the emotional sea. Don't be triggered. Don't be prideful. Don't be a pushover either. Be a stone. Give them nothing. Because if you give them nothing, if they realise that there's no fuel to be had, there's no character traits to acquire, then the odds are much, much better. You can never guarantee that you'll never come on the radar of a narcissist, because they have to assert control over everyone around them at all times. It's subconsciously driven. But, you know, you'll vastly increase the chances of them not, you know, picking on you if you give them nothing. If they know that this is a stone that cannot be bled, then, you know, so much the better. So logic defense is on, cross the emotional sea, and once you know,